A young woman who happens to be quite deadly with a bow and arrow is leading readers through the pages of a brand new novel and leading its author right onto the bestsellers list. The Wolves of Winter is a post-apocalyptic survival story and the first novel from Kelowna-based author Tyrell Johnson. In it, we meet Lynn McBride, a 23-year-old trying to forage with her family, stay alive in the snow-covered wilderness of the Yukon. Tyrell Johnson is live in studio this morning. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Lindsey.
What a story. What a build-up. And Gwendolyn, or she prefers to be called Lynn. Let's start there. She's surviving in the Yukon after most of civilization is wiped out. How did you go about researching the frozen tundra and how to survive it?
Yeah, well, when I was writing The Wolves of Winter, I did a lot of research online about just the flora and fauna of the Yukon and looked at a lot of maps and looked at a lot of pictures. And I actually watched a lot of YouTube videos on things like how to field dress a deer or make an igloo, which I don't recommend.
Did you try to do that on your own by any chance?
I didn't. No. But yeah, just pretty much everything online and was able to put something together.
So the father-daughter relationship is quite prevalent in this book. You were a new father at the time when writing this, so how did that influence your writing choices?
Yeah, it was partly why I wrote the book to some extent, is I wanted to use those new emotions and that new experience of being a father, having a young daughter in my writing, and that's obviously why the father-daughter relationship is so prevalent.
So how do you think your perspective changed after having kids in terms of how you approached this?
Yeah, it was, for this book specifically, it was an interesting thing to have the father is dead from the beginning. And that's something, as a parent, I'm realizing you worry about, of like, what are your kids going to be like? How are they going to survive? What are they going to remember about you? And so that was interesting to me to be able to explore that in The Wolves of Winter.
What is it about survival that you find so fascinating?
Just the challenge. It's always fun to put your characters in tough situations, and that's why this snowy landscape was perfect for me. Not only did it inhibit their movement physically, but they had to worry about finding heat and finding food, and so I just thought it was an interesting challenge for my characters.
You have your very own Wolf of Winter, your Siberian Husky, who is so absolutely adorable. I have a soft spot for Huskies. We've had them in our family as well. Yours is so cute. How did your dog help you with anytime you had writer's block, for example?
Well, if I had writer's block, I would often go out and take my dog for a walk or for a hike, and I think that there's something about just a mundane task of putting one foot in front of the other.
Here's your puppy.
There he is.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, look at those eyes. Yeah, great. So you'd go out and you'd walk with him?
Yeah, and it just would sort of help the back of my brain to spin and come up with new ideas while I was just kind of out and relaxed in nature with him.
So writers I've spoken to, a lot of them say they write when they're in an office environment. You wrote in a barn, a converted barn, but a barn.
Right.
And you had a buddy there who I alluded to about a couple minutes ago in one of our opens.
Yeah.
A buddy named Jim. There's Jim.
Yeah, there he is.
What's the deal with Jim?
Yeah, so I work in my mother-in-law's horse barn, and there's a pretty nice office in there, and Jim, he's about 20 feet away, and sometimes freaks me out when he starts braying, but he's a good guy.
So how does that, what is his backstory? How old is Jim?
Yeah,
What's he doing there?
He's about 30 now. Donkeys live.
Is he really?
Yeah, lived for a while.
He looks good.
He does. He's a good 30-year-old donkey. He was a rescue. My mother-in-law took him on, and yeah.
I was going to say, is he an indoor donkey, but I guess it's a barn, so technically you're maybe in his space anyway.
Yeah, he wants me out of there sometimes. So.
Talk to me about that workspace. Why was that important to write in there?
I mean, it's definitely got a rustic feel, kind of very writerly, I guess, and sort of helps me get into the mindset of the book and the outdoors, and yeah.
Walt Whitman quotes are featured throughout this book. Talk to me about your connection.
Well, I studied poetry in college, and Walt Whitman was kind of the first poet that I really enjoyed. And his poetry is very connected to nature, and I thought that worked well with the book. And I found specific sections of poems that introduce sections of the novel really well, and so I thought I would use him.
So this is your first novel.
It is, yeah.
What's this feeling like right now, talking about now that it's done? I'm holding it in my hands. We see it back here. What's this feeling like?
It's all of the above. It's exciting, it's crazy, it's overwhelming, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.